And what's up, everybody? I'm back with another video game review, and this is another NES title known as Gyromite. Gyromite was released back in 1985. Yes, it was one of the original NES titles, making it, to date, the oldest game that I have ever reviewed, which is pretty cool. I don't really know how much older I'll get, because then we're going back into the days of the Atari 2600, and I don't own one of those. So yeah, love it while it's here. It's almost 40 years old now, but yeah, this game gets very mixed reviews. Not really much on the positive side at all. And I got a chance to play it with the one and only Like and Miffery. There's a reason why I had to play it with him, which we'll get to a little bit later. But got a lot of thoughts on it, so let's jump right into it, shall we? First off, you notice problems before you even start the game when you boot up the game. Uh, there's a different title screen than the title of the game. The title screen says Robot Gyro, but the name of the game, like I said, is Gyromite. Why? Like you know you're in for a ride when you see that. So when they couldn't even get the title thing right. And then also, like I said, I had to play with Like a Miffery because it's only a two-player experience. Even though there is a one-player and a two-player mode. The only difference is one player is just you work together with one controller and it's co-op mode. But two-player, like one person goes and they go as far as they can and then they die. And then the next person goes with a different character and they go see how far they can go. You're playing as your own character versus one. But why even have a one-player mode? It's really not even one player. One person's always got to be controlling the pipes. One person's always got to be controlling the professor. Why the fuck is there no one player? And it would be very simple to have one player. You just have to put the pipes on a timer. Or something like that. And then it could easily be done. But no, apparently not. You could even have it where one moves one thing like A or B, you have on the controller to move the pipes. So all you're doing is moving. There is no jumping in this game, which is very annoying. The professor cannot jump and pick up stuff, because there's just these tiniest platforms possible that you should just be able to take one big step up to, and you can't because he cannot jump. So all you gotta go around all the way around the level just to get to that other point. And that can be pretty annoying. Especially when jumping over the enemies and whatnot and all that junk. So it can be the no jumping thing can be very annoying. I don't even remember where I was going off with this tangent thing, but you could say A could control the pipes, and then you move along with B, the D-pad, and then B picks up the radishes and whatnot and puts them down. That's not hard, is it? You could easily do that. There's no function. There's no reason why you couldn't have done that for a one-player mode. Whatever. The pipe movements, like I said, they're very slow, and they're also not always on the same reaction as you might have liked. It's a arcade. It's a port of an arcade game from 1985, so you can't expect much, especially with the NES, the original NES release and whatnot. However, you can expect a little bit. I mean, you can expect a little bit more responsive, I think, but you don't. It's not a huge deal if you can plan around it. You get used to it eventually. It's not a huge complaint, but it's just something I realized. Now also with the co-op thing, it makes it be that this is one of the two games that are compatible with Rob the Robot. Now, I don't have a Rob the Robot. I don't think I'll ever get one of those. I'd be very lucky to have one, but I don't have one. And I don't know if I'll ever, like I said, I don't know if I ever will, But I know the raw functionality. I've seen videos of it in functionality. It's freaking awful. At that point, just grab 2 controllers and play yourself. Like, play by yourself. Like, oh my god. It's slow. It's not... It doesn't really help you at all because he's too slow to actually block anything or get you moving in the right direction until you die. And it, I don't know, it just doesn't... It's not great. Not worth the money, in my opinion. And then he'll come turn every game to Gyromite stack up and kill you. Quote of AGN. Alright, some other functionality things about the game. All the levels look very similar. And I get, like, you know, it's another arcade port, early level game. I get it. But yes, the levels look very similar to each other. The enemies are always the same. Most of the colors are usually the same. So there's very little variety in that regard. Now, if you do have somebody to play with, like a friend, or a family member, or hell, even if you could train your cat to do this shit, it can be actually kind of fun to play with after a little bit. Once you get hold of the controls, once you figure out how the levels work, once you figure out how the professor works, once you figure out what to do, which is collect all the dynamite, not a hard goal to complete in the levels at all. And it can actually be pretty fun. And it can be cool to try and mix it up with your friends. You know, one person does the professor, one does the pipe, then you switch for the next level. It can be pretty cool to do. To play. So it can actually be kind of fun. The last thing I have is with the items. Sometimes you go to pick up an item, which in this case, the only item you can pick up are radishes, because you pick up the dynamite automatically by just walking into it. But you have to pick up the radishes. They don't always pick up. You don't always pick them up, even if you're standing right next to one and you click the button to pick it up. You don't always pick them up. It's a little bit randomized. Some of those button actions are a little finicky on how that works. So, but if you plan it out enough, it shouldn't really be that much of an issue to worry about. So, but that's all my thoughts for Gyromite. It's not a very long game review, but it is a comprehensive one. It's not a very large game either, so it really doesn't make much sense to make it super long than it needs to be. But my final thoughts on Gyromite, I'm going to have to give it just a 6. It's a very simple game. It's not great, but you find somebody to play with and it'll be fun. And they got some real weird errors, like only having 2 players or the title screen. I think it would be cool though to see this game remastered. I think it would go over pretty well. I really do. I think that'd be cool to see. So, but if you have ever played Gyromite, I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. And would you like to see it remastered? Let me know in the comment section down below. So, that's going to do it for this game review. That's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned for much more amazing content. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye.